This is the Seahawkers podcast, live and uncatfished. I'm Brandon Schultz, and I have found him. He is here. Adam Emmert joining me in the postgame show.
Yeah, back from the almost 2-week-long mill exodus. That was not fun, but necessary. Glad it was over, much like this football game. That's exactly how I feel about this football game, Brandon. But as you always say, it is
better to win than to lose.
Yeah, and there it is. So good night, folks. Let's watch the Cards next week, and that's it. Okay.
Next week? That's coming up on Saturday. I know it feels like we should have to wait. Like they should just cancel football for another week, put it off after this stinker of a game. This was one of those, I don't know. You know how like when you watch a movie and you get done with it and you're like, what happened with all that time that I just spent with my life? Like, What did I just do?
Yeah, like every M. Night Shyamalan movie.
I kind of like some of those movies.
Oh, okay. Just a name. You can put anyone in there you'd like. But offensively speaking, It was a horror show, dude. But we can get to that later because we can talk about positives first. Like, how about that defense?
Well, that's why for the thumbnail, I'm calling this a defensive gem, Adam. This is because if you want to put any kind of spin on this game, the fact that they held the Bears to 3 stinking points all game, hey, that's something. And the fact that, even if you were to score this game by sacks, we actually maybe even scored more points.
Yeah, 7-3 sacks to points. What what an interesting game. But seriously, you do have to take your hats off to defense. I mean, Spoon had another massive game and was all over the field making huge plays. Leo was dominant again. Jared Reed comes up with another big game after his performance against the Vikings. They took a team that was in disarray and they made them continue to look like they were in a disarray. It was one of those games where at some point there in the fourth quarter, it's like, oh no, is this how you lose to a team on a 9-game losing streak? Like that's how it started to feel.
Oh, it absolutely felt that way. And there were moments where they were picking up third downs, they were picking up fourth downs. And yes, you were feeling like this was maybe just a play away from giving this game away. But hey, how can we complain when Doc Scott's over in the UK at 4 a.m. and staying up to watch the game? Like we wonder where our time went. Doc could have been sleeping.
MVP to Doc, man. That's a hard deal to do there. Stay up that late for that. So, I was after the first drive of the game when Seahawks get under center, they run the crap out of the ball and they're getting down close to the goal line. And then Geno almost throws another red zone pick, just another really bad read by him. But I was like, oh my gosh, like, are we going to get like a fun offensive performance tonight? Like where we're going to run the ball. It's going to be efficient. Geno's going to look good for the most part. We'll score some points. We'll bury the Bears early. And no, that's not what we were going to get.
Well, we got to have the fun on the defensive side. Why do you got to be greedy and want offensive football too in the same game where we're getting solid defensive football? We've got Ryan 911, our live executive producer, with a $9.99 super chat. I'll take the win. Huge effort by the D tonight, especially after the fumble. And that was a weird point in the game too, where it looked like forward progress had been stopped with Farrell Brown. The ball gets punched out. The officials let it play. It almost looked like it could have been a touchdown, but then the officials say that he was down. That was another play that had it just gone the Bears' way, we may not have recovered.
In Farrell Brown getting killed in the Discord over that one. But, to be fair, he got stuck on top of somebody, so that sucked. And then he literally got mauled by a pack of bears. Like, you get mauled by a pack of bears and see if you can hold on to a football. I can't.
We've got TF Easter Bunny in the chat. 5:19 in Sweden. Let's keep this going. Who is up later watching this game than TF Easter Bunny in Sweden? Who do we have in Russia? Do we have anybody in India or China? Or did somebody stay up all night in Australia? I need to know.
Yeah, we need to find out because that's more interesting stats than what we'll get offensively. That's for sure.
Why does Farrell Brown get balls thrown to him? Because he's a professional tight end who is apparently still on our team.
Yeah, and he's out there. But hey, look, they did get the ball to Noah Fant some. He had a nice game for him. That was a bright spot, I would say, offensively. Him and Charbonnet early. Kenny Mack looked good for the few touches he got. I like Kenny Mack.
We had a okay Kenny Mack game, 7 carries, 46 yards, 6.5 yards per carry. Zach Charbonnet, 15 of 57. Shoot, after this first half of football, I almost, if I could squint real hard, think that we had a running football team.
Yeah, yeah. We ended up with more runs than passes in this game, so that's fun. It's really tough to watch an offensive coordinator that really just doesn't understand how you build an offense. Like, it's like, hey man, you've been throwing the ball too much. Right, got it. Okay, we're gonna run the heck out of the ball, and then when they finally, walk that second safety up and they start playing heavier boxes all of the second half, we just keep doing it. And that play action thingy, we'll do it once. And Geno playing at what looked like a diminished level was barely able to get it to DK there.
Geno playing at a diminished level, but also as far as his knee not being right, that seemed evident on a few plays. Now that doesn't excuse the red zone potential interception. That one was inexcusable. But yeah, if I could go back and count how many times they ran play action from under center in the second half, I feel like it would be. I mean, the one play to DK stands out because it was, at his feet and he made an incredible catch. But other than that play, it seemed like it was very minimal.
It was super minimal. And you could see Geno didn't have the zip on the ball. And you could see it in Grubb's play calling as well. They weren't really pushing the ball down the field at all, trying to run a lot of horizontal stuff. The screen stuff wasn't really working. And they had the one screen later in the game to JSN. That was okay. It was kind of funny just listening to the Thursday Night Football crew talk about the game after, and they're kind of going over the Seahawks offense. They're like, yeah, so there's the JSN screen, and so they won, and that was cool.
160 passing yards on 17 attempts for Geno Smith. Carly Perkins in the chat with a $4.99 super chat. I don't think a game has ever made me laugh harder. So pathetic. Thank God our defense was fun to watch, and we don't need to wear the frowny paper bags. No, those were reserved for the Chicago Bears fans who, if you want to add to the humor, they were heard loudly chanting, "Sell the team," in the postgame show.
Yeah. And maybe the McCaskies should take that advice, because that is an utter dumpster fire. So as frustrated as we are with the offense and the defense looking great, we could be the Bears.
That would be worse. Yep. Phil Leidick in the chat pointing out our the one under center play action play, and this was in the first half, is where Geno tripped over Charbonnet's foot. So right. Yeah.
It clearly doesn't work. Don't try it again.
Well, it's obvious that we don't run it enough that we get in each other's way, apparently, when we actually do try.
Well, and look, you're kind of hitting on something I wanted to talk about a little bit. And this is why I was as frustrated as I was early in the year that they weren't running the football with more consistency, because they weren't getting in the reps. They weren't getting to a point to where they become good at running the football. You have to do it to become good. You can't just like wake up like my daughter all the time. Like, she'll try something new, and if she's not awesome at it the very first time she does it, she gets frustrated and just is like, screw it. And like, that's kind of how it felt like for Ryan Grubb early in the season. So they weren't running the ball early to get good at it, so that when you get to late in the season with your quarterback all banged up in a weather game, then you're like, oh, now it's time. We got to do the run screen. And you're not good at it.
Yeah. And then we get frustrated, but we do want balance. We do want a coordinator who, once the defense is reacting the way you're supposed to when you're having a successful run game, and maybe it's not been there in practice, and so he has to go back and watch the tape and then take notes and then realize, okay, when the defense starts doing that, then we run a little bit more play action, and that's just how football works. Don Mata with the $4.99 super chat. Do we all agree Grubb has got to go? Where are we at with Geno and DK? Happy New Year, Brandon, Adam, and all the little flockers out there. These are all things that I'm sure we're going to be hitting on for the months and months to come, right? I know the conversation's starting now. We've even started to get there in shows previous, but I think, I don't know how you can look at these last few stretches of games and feel like it's solid offensive coordinating and
right.
And be happy with what Geno's put on the field these last few games. I mean, he's been the league leader inside the red zone with interceptions. So I mean, is the problem with both of those questions is who are you ultimately going to get, and are they going to be better if you don't end up solving other issues that are symptomatic with this team? And with the offensive line, there needs to be some additions there too.
Well, let's look at this in a few different ways. Like, first, who you going to get that's better at OC? Quite literally, right now, if they had Shane freaking Waldron as their offensive coordinator, and we got last year's offense to pair with this year's defense, this is probably an 11-win team. That's how pathetic the offense has been. I would love to have Shane Waldron back for this year, like somehow.
We maybe win the Rams game.
Right. So this is why when people are like, well, if you get rid of Grubb, then you're just going to what? Get some average, bang average OC? Yes, please. For the love of God, yes, please. Just somebody that knows anything about the NFL.
And with quarterback, I mean, we were talking a little bit about it in the Discord during the game, and your options are trade for Sam Darnold after the Vikings probably franchise tag him because they know that he's going to have a market, Cooper Rush as a free agent, and maybe Justin Fields.
Yeah. So, look, you take Geno. I firmly believe this. You can't shake me off of this. You put Geno on the Vikings, Sam Darnold on the Seahawks. They look exactly the same. They look exactly the same. They've just switched to a better team and a little bit worse team.
Maybe fewer red zone turnovers. So you would get that part of your
Why
wish.
would there be
I don't know.
fewer red zone
maybe
turnovers?
just because you're wishing that it'll happen differently.
No, I don't think there would be any fewer red zone turnovers because at some point when you put it all on Geno's shoulders throughout the entire year and you make him play hero ball throughout a lot of it, then you're going to end up with that. Sam Darnold would do the same thing. Sam Darnold had a few throws against us where I was like, wow, that's no different than some of the balls that we get mad at Geno for.
Sure.
And people want to hurry up and pay Sam Darnold a bunch of money. Like, I don't think so, man. Like, there isn't a quarterback out there you're going to get that's markedly better. You're just not. I don't know if you can get a dude in the draft, a developmental guy. Sounds like this draft, they're not there. Then maybe, but I honestly wouldn't mind seeing Geno with a real offensive coordinator for a change. That would be amazing.
That would be at least one way to judge things moving forward, but we'll see. Yes. Snail disagreeing with your comment there. Sam Darnold wouldn't finish the year on our team with this OC.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I'll take that disagreement, Snail. You betcha. No doubt about it. But I mean, it's just painfully clear. It kind of feels like Grubb is just trying to get fired at this point. Like, oh yeah, Mike, you want me to run? Well, here you go. I won't do anything else off of that either. Once that starts working and you suck the safeties up, won't do that. He just wants to go live in Alabama. I'm convinced of it. He's tired of the Seattle rain.
We'll see. We will see in the weeks ahead. We still have football coming up. We still have a little bit about this game to talk about because
is there?
I mean, a little bit.
I like that you're trying. A for effort, man.
I am trying. I guess I want to talk more. I saw Clinton in the chat mentioning which sack was your favorite in this game because they did put an awful lot of pressure on Caleb Williams. And gosh, I think before the half was fun because that was the first Leonard Williams sack of the day. One thing that I called for on our What If episode earlier today. And the fact that will help me beat Clinton and I will achieve the crown of the What If Superhawk once again this year. And so I just get to gloat on that one a little bit while Clinton has to listen to it backstage.
Then that's my favorite one too. Like, I love that. I'm all for it. I especially in sports talk, I like being able to gloat. So I want you to have that moment. And look, just Leo being Leo and having the type of game that he was having. Sure, the first one for Leo, might as well put that up there.
Clinton saying, beat me more. Praising
it's
Clinton.
That kind of show, Clinton. Yeah.
Chris Brubaker saying 14-yard sack by Reed and Chenna. That was one of the things that I was also impressed by is when they sent some of that extra pressure, they had the contain for when Caleb tried to do the Russ thing where he spun around and trying to get outside the pocket and he had nowhere to go. And Nwosu had a great game. You had Reed having a great game. You had multiple sacks by Leo Williams. And so, yeah, it was great to see Nwosu, however you want to pronounce his last name.
Hey, if we're gonna bang on 85-year-old Al Michaels for not knowing how to pronounce kind of an odd name, like, come on, what?
Kirk Herbstreit was having trouble too.
Well,
Can we bang on him?
Yes, always bang on Kirk Herbstreit. Always. Like, go back to college, man. You and Ryan Grubb, you can go back there together. But I think defensively, and you're talking about the pressure and you're talking about the sacks, I think what we need to talk about the most here is Mike McDonald's scheme in all of the simulated pressures and just having dudes surrounding the line of scrimmage constantly to confuse the rookie. And it really did work. How many times when Pete was the coach, especially towards the end of his tenure, you'd be against a lesser QB or a rookie QB and, kind of playing it safe from vanilla and all that stuff. And it's like, no, go after this guy. Just like Mike did on the final play, offensive play of the game for Chicago, brings a zero blitz yet again. Love the aggressiveness. I loved his game plan. It was awesome.
That was one of the things. And when you talk about coordinators and how much of a difference it makes from one season to another, think back to 2 years when Clint Hurt was dialing up these blitzes to where interior defensive linemen were dropping back into coverage. And we saw times in this game where it was Jaron Reed and Leonard Williams dropping back into coverage while 5 other dudes were rushing the passer. The only thing is when Clint Hurt was doing it, the offense that we were playing against was finding ways to beat those interior defenders that dropped into coverage. And we're going, man, this is dumb. Why would you even do that? And then we watch it in this game. We're like, this is brilliant because they have no answer for it.
Right. It depends on what quarterback you're going against, right? Like Sometimes you go against good ones and sometimes you go against bad ones. I really do want to get to our wonderful super chat from Brian too here after that. Yeah, because this is a great comment and I love this.
Brian saying that game was like a bad porno. It's sexy time, but with like the ugliest 2 humans.
Yeah.
But you are a guy, so you have to know how it ends.
Thanks, know,
Brian. Thanks for making me read that one.
Yes, thank you for making him read that out loud. That was the best Christmas present ever, Brian. I appreciate that. What did Christopher have to say? I kicked him off the screen for that, so I want to get back to Christopher here too.
That sounds like one that Michael Paul would write. But thank you for the $9.99 super chat, Brian.
Yeah.
Nwosu played well. Good to see him make an impact. I actually feel bad for Caleb Williams. Not terrible. He is very weary now after all, but it's got to suck to be in his situation. And they laid it out during the broadcast. The going from having Shane Waldron as your offensive coordinator, then him getting fired, your offensive coordinator changing, and then your coach getting fired, and now your new offensive coordinator is the new head coach. And there's really not much you can do at this point except play out the season.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess it's tough on him having to survive the best situation a number 1 rookie quarterback has ever gone into ever. Because wasn't that what people said? Wasn't that the thing? The greatest
you could almost make
ever?
a case for it going into the bye week for the Bears. They were 4-2. They had, and even coming out of the bye, they had the Commanders on the ropes, and then they got Jaden Daniels at the last moment.
True.
In that Hail Mary, and that blew up their entire season.
I'm calling it now. I'm calling my shot. Any Bears people that are on here, you can hate on it, whatever, and I'm not trying to pile on. But Caleb Williams will be the next Jay Cutler type coach killer. That's who he's going to be. He plays so much like him.
I think he can develop and become a coordinator. He has so many neat skills that you can see.
So did Cutler,
I suppose, but he's more athletic than Cutler.
That's true. That's
Chris
true.
Brubaker saying needs an order: guard, center, cornerback, linebacker, safety, tight end, quarterback.
He forgot OC, but yeah. Otherwise,
in terms of team needs.
Yeah, in terms of players on the field, yeah, guard. I actually think Olu's doing fine. I wouldn't be in a hurry to get rid of Olu.
Well, I would be okay with having a real, like, solid center, like the dude that you get in the second round that is just real good.
That's overdrafted. You can't do that.
I know.
Got to take a receiver.
Got to take receivers in the second round. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
Because if you take them in the 4th round, they end up being not good unless they're like Puka Nacua. No, Lisa Carlson with a $1.99 super chat. She had to get this in there. Punt Hub, great description from Clinton.
This show's taking a turn that I didn't expect, but
I know. I thought we were talking football, but then after the last couple super chats, I'm very confused.
Yeah, it's we're talking football. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I have the music for what we want to talk about right now.
No. Well, yeah, there we go. Sherm's stripping apparently on Prime right now. So it's just in the air.
When
Love
you get
is in the
6-3
air.
football, this is
Nothing
this
gets
is what you
people.
get.
Yeah, nothing gets libido going like 6'3". Yeah.
Doc Scott wants to talk football, apparently, saying, any thoughts on Pete Carroll to the Bears rumors? Now, this was, I was not happy about this, by the way. I sit down with EJ Snyder on Tuesday to record a show that I'm going to release on Christmas Day because I'm thinking, there's no way there's going to be news Christmas morning. We record on Tuesday. We just pretend that it's Christmas, and we record the show and put it out the next day. And then the show comes out and people are like, why didn't you talk about the Pete Carroll to the Bears rumors? Well, it's because the news hadn't happened yet. We recorded the day before. Yeah. I hope so. That would be an upgrade for them.
Oh my gosh. I really hope this happens. I think Pete Carroll would be an amazing fit there. I think he'd be an amazing coach with somebody like Caleb Williams, who I'm not, there was a lot of rumors and all this stuff when he came out about his personality stuff, but he seems like a little bit eccentric at the very least, right? Like, I don't think he's a bad dude or anything like that, but that's something that I think Pete would do well with. They're all screaming, hey, it's got to be an offensive guy. It just needs to be a solid head coach. Like that's what you need more than, oh, is he offense or is he defense? I think we're seeing that this year and people are starting to understand that.
Well, and it makes a little bit of sense too if you could talk the Bears ownership into it, it would be, well, yeah, Pete's a defensive guy, but look what he did when he drafted Russell Wilson, turned him into the quarterback that he was as head coach. They played within his skill set and they found a way to win offensively while playing great defense. I think that I could sell Pete Carroll on this job.
And look, the number one thing the Bears need more than anything else is culture, like a real positive, defined culture. And that's something Pete Carroll will build like that there. And maybe that overcomes bad ownership. I don't know.
Ageist Amy Holmes in the chat saying no one taking Pete, too old to start a new thing. Come on, Amy.
Well, he doesn't have to learn anything new like Al Michaels and Nwosu. Like, he's just got to do what he knows how to do, which is coach football. So I think
Amy, I'm just being hard on Amy too. Amy's just being realistic on this one.
I know.
Christopher McMurray saying
she just doesn't want to design a beach house on Lake Michigan or whatever lake the right. Chicago's on. Yeah.
I don't know. Travel might be in it for her. Maybe that'd be a fine thing.
Yeah.
Christopher McMurray in chat saying Pete Carroll is going to become the Bears head coach, trade for Russell Wilson and DK, and then go to the divisional round next year.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe. Are we going to trade DK to the Bears?
I don't know.
Do we get a Dunze as part of the deal?
I'm warming up to the trade DK stuff a little bit.
Yeah, you tired of the that cornerback likes to mix things up. I'm on DK's side here.
Yeah, you should know that quarterback likes to mix things up and then hold it together like a grown-ass man. Like, he just can't be doing that stuff anymore. He's a target. Like, know that. Like, mature a little bit. Like, it gets under my skin. Now, when I say I'm warming up to it, that doesn't mean I'm like, yeah, you got to get rid of this guy. Can't win with this guy. Get him off team. I am not saying that. They end up keeping DK, extending him and all that with a good OC. And that defense is a compliment to a good offense because I think DK could be really good because I don't know what we saw tonight, Brandon. We talk about complimentary football all the time. That was insult football then because we had great defense and terrible offense. Like, that wasn't complimentary at all.
Marlon says, Adam, would you take Kyle from the Whiners after he gets fired?
No,
because he's going to lose you a Super Bowl, obviously.
Yeah, that's true.
He's going to find a way. He's going to get up. He's going to get pass happy, forget to run the football, and then you're going to lose in the Super Bowl. I
just don't like no accountability guys. And he's the ultimate, like, he's murdered more by bus than anybody else.
Yeah, you don't want a guy who's going to throw people under the bus. House saying all you want to talk about, every other thing but our quarterbacks. Are we talking about Geno here? I can't follow this sentence.
Yeah, well, look, okay, first put together a real sentence, and then we can probably talk about it if you want. But the other thing is, like, you got to put this contextually, right? Geno's horrible. No, he's not horrible. Like, he's not elite. He's not horrible. Like, I don't understand he's terrible. He's a bum. You got to get him off the team. Well, it's just factually incorrect.
Yeah. He's around the middle somewhere, which it's kind of the argument around the Dalton line years ago, right? When you have a quarterback that is Andy Dalton good, you kind of are in this situation where, yeah, if you move on, you could end up with somebody worse, and you don't want to be worse.
Yeah, well, for sure. And look, at the end of the day, too, like this kind of comes back to a bigger picture conversation regarding this entire team, right? Team goes, 9-8 last year. Pete gets fired. They missed the playoffs by a half game or whatever it was. And, John Schneider comes out and says, not good enough and, didn't meet our standard, all that stuff. We got to go a new direction. Go into this year with the whole new coaching staff. You end up right back in the same place with pretty much the same roster for the most part. I mean, some changes, obviously, every year, but you're looking to be on course to having that same type of finish this year. Do you look at that and go, okay, we're going to try one more year with maybe a better offensive guy at the helm here with Mike McDonald here, who clearly has the defense thing figured out? Or is it time for Mike to just kind of clean house and trade everybody and let's see what happens from there? I think it's a legitimate argument at this point to go that way.
We got the Snail, one of our longtime members out here on YouTube. You can hit the join button to join and help support the show that way. And the Snail also giving us a $5 super chat. Geno is a great play action quarterback, which is why us not doing it ever is absolutely criminal. This game was so set up for that. Like he had the first half that he absolutely needed. I'm talking about Ryan Grubb here. Had the first half he needed, and then in the second half, it was squandered.
Yeah, it was completely squandered. It's like, man, you threw all of your first punches. Now it's time for the counter punch, and it's obvious, plain as day. They're rolling the safety down. We went from having those 6-7 man boxes to 7, 8, 9 man boxes. All right, now it's time to go deep. And look, maybe this is partly due to the weather. Maybe it's partly due to the fact that I really do think that Geno is banged up bad at this point and just really wasn't able to push the ball down the field coming off the short week after the Vikings game.
We've got Craig Payne out on Facebook saying, we just haven't had much consistency this year. Traits of a new coaching staff. I think it gets better, but we need to settle in ASAP because it's rough right now. And we're going to see how they react in these next couple games and how they react coming out of the season. I think that there are things I feel like in terms of some of the Mike McDonald defensive side consistency type issues, I'm much more forgiving because there seem to be answers, there seems to be growth and not regression. Like you might see regression from one week to the next, but like from the start of the season, it has been a trend toward in the upward direction, which has been, I think, pro Coach McDonald. On the offensive side, we had a nice start where the offense was high flying, and we said, well, this is fun for now, but we could see this going on the downward trajectory. That's what happened, and that's probably why we're a little bit more negative on the offensive side.
Oh, for sure. And look, if you have a defense that plays like this defense has been playing from about the Rams game on, and you play that out for a season, that's a top 10, top 8 defense. Like I understand it's not perfectly consistent, but that is also a little bit of playing NFL defense these days against really good offenses in, play callers like LaFleur or KOC. I think that Mike's done a tremendous job, and there's a lot to build on there. And what do we got from House? Quit being a homer over what?
Other fans laugh at our quarterback situation. If you can't see that, that's your problem. And I do believe that House is right, and that other fans look at Geno like he's not a legit NFL quarterback. And it is because of his inconsistency that he gets that reputation. He can go out and he can have a 300-yard passing game, 3 touchdowns, and look like a top 5 NFL quarterback. But case in point, just as he is the red zone or the leader in red zone interceptions.
Yeah.
There's only 2 other quarterbacks in the entire league that have more fourth quarter comebacks than him. So
right.
As great as he is in one spot, he's not so great in the other. He can be this fourth quarter comeback hero. He can also be the guy that gives it away. And that's the frustrating part about it.
Well, what's frustrating about the whole conversation is that by calling Geno Smith average to slightly above average is being a homer. Like, what are you talking about? That's nonsense, man.
That's a little bit weird. Yes, he is Jekyll, he is Hyde, and he's our quarterback for right now. And I just, there's so many other options that I look at and go, well, that's not better though.
No.
And I don't want to change for change's sake.
It's so much easier to change and to move off of Geno right now and become the Raiders than it is to move off of Geno and, become the Vikings.
Right. Ryan 911 saying, for me, I'm looking at this as a multi-year project for the new coaching staff. I think the season has been mostly a success. That's another thing we should be celebrating, Adam, because winning record. Coach Mike has come in and in his first NFL season got the Seahawks to his first winning record, something that it wasn't a winning record when Coach Pete came in, and obviously had a little bit more to work with coming to the Seahawks than Coach Pete did. But still a fine way to still in your first year get this team to a winning season, and still an opportunity, Adam, for this team to win the division.
Yeah, there still is. And look, it is not a foregone conclusion at all that the Rams just go out and shellac the Cards. Weird things happen in these division games. The Cards have been on a downward trajectory. And Sean McVay, clearly he's switched his hair gel to the type of gel that I wish he'd use on his picture there with his poop hat there. That's kind of fun. But it does seem as if, again, not a foregone conclusion that the Rams just come away with the victory here. But in true Cardinals fashion, I'm sure they'll screw it up for us just to be assholes.
Yeah, that's the part of this that I'm worried about. When we need the Cardinals to get a win against LA, they'll find a way to screw it up and allow the Rams to win. I don't know. Are we going to see another 6-3 game? Because that's apparently what we do in the NFC West now.
Hey, is entirely in range. The Rams offense has been sputtering the last few weeks and haven't been putting up a ton of points. And again, Cards kind of in a free fall. Kyler doing his, late season spiral again. So we'll get to watch that live and we can all do it together if you'd like. And if you don't want to miss that, be sure to like and subscribe and do all that stuff, or don't, whatever. It's up to you. Nobody cares.
YouTube.com/Seahawkers podcast. The only way you're going to hear this audio is to join us live on YouTube Saturday night. We're going to be doing that watch party at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're just, it's one of those situations where we want the Cardinals to win. We're going to cheer them on and we're going to have some fun doing it. We're going to be here, Adam. Clinton's going to join us. I think Mr. Phil's going to pop on for a little bit too, if he can.
Nice.
And we even got some other podcasting special guests that we've invited to join us Saturday as well. If you're a member of our Discord, we're going to have a link there. And that way, if you want to pop on and ask a question for a couple minutes, just say a couple comments during the game, you'll be able to join us live too.
Heck yeah. It's going to be fun. It's something we've been wanting to do for a while, and we're getting it cranked up now that I have real internet. This is going to be a good time.
Guru J asking, how can you say Geno can go out and throw 300 yards with 3 touchdowns when he's basically never ever done that? Has he not done that like a lot?
Literally has ever done that. Like, yeah.
I mean, if we wanted to get super boring, we could pull up the stats website and go and track down exactly how many times that's happened. But
yeah, whatever, man. Like, again, the people that hate Geno, like, they apparently only watch the bad games, and those are the only things they focus on, and that's fine, I guess. Good luck. Like, it's just not a complete picture. It drives me crazy.
I know we're selling him as a mediocre quarterback, and I feel like we're getting pushback. What is going on here?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not like we're arguing that he is Patrick Mahomes out here. Come on, people.
Yeah, and we got to re-up him and, make him a top-paid guy or anything like that.
We can see it for the off season, Ryan. Next week, game by game breakdown of Geno's entire career. Let's do it.
Yeah, we could do that. We can do a breakdown of every guy that has called offensive plays in the NFL that we could possibly get. That would be 1,000% upgrade over what we have now. That'd be cool.
We have plenty of time in this offseason to list out the pros and cons of Geno Smith for all the Geno Smith haters out there. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills trying to defend him as a middle of the road quarterback, but here we are.
Because you are. Because another comment from House Dude, like, pull up his career record. Okay, let's pull up his career record. When he played for a dysfunctional Jets team, then played for a craptastic Giants team. Like, I don't even think he ever saw the field as a Chargers quarterback.
I don't think so.
Right. Yeah.
And then on mediocre Seattle teams these last few years.
Yeah. First 2 years he was a starter for this team. His defense was a rolling fucking dumpster fire. And you're like, well, what's his career record? Well, he doesn't play freaking defensive tackle either. Like, come on.
Yeah, we're asking. So 3 years ago, we were asking Geno Smith to go out there and score 35 points a game. And now we're mad that he can't go out and score, 10 points in the rain, I suppose.
Yeah. From Luke here. Yeah, exactly. So I wonder what this dude thinks about Caleb. Is he still a generational talent or is he just trash now? Like, what's his career record?
Right. All right. So we've had enough fun debating in chat around Geno Smith. We've anything else you want to say about this game against the Chicago Bears and maybe coming up this weekend against for what we have to look forward to as Seahawks fans?
Yeah, it did go to overtime, and so that was a massive plus because I'm still tired. I need another good day of sleep here to feel like a real person again. Happy about that. And then just hoping for that Rams loss, of course, right? Like, let's go Gannon. Hooray.
Yeah, let's go Coach Gannon and the Cardinals. Help save our playoff hopes. We can get there. And if I guess not, then we have, what is it, like 15 other outcomes that we have to try and root for to get strength of schedule or strength of victory over the stupid Rams.
I'll let you get out your grease board and beautiful mind the shit out of that, but I'm good on that one.
All right. Guru J saying, all he's saying is Jason Myers, player of the season. Great year by Jason Myers. He kicked the hell out of the football tonight. He scored all our points. Great job to Jason Myers, helping us to secure this win over the Chicago Bears.
Absolutely. Big kick, 51 yards in the rain. I wanted to go for it. I thought the footing would be terrible, but Jason Myers came out and said, nope, even year, hold my beer, watch this.
And I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.